Dell has upgraded their popular XPS 13 laptop. Is it any good? I'll tell you. Stay tuned. So let's jump right in and talk about what's new with the Dell XPS 13. As you can see here, we have the rose gold version. I like to think of it as copper, so I know color is a little weird to get on video here, but it's pretty much like a copper penny, which I think is actually a really nice change. Now, that is $50 extra compared to the normal silver version, so take that into consideration. You can see here actually compared to last year's version, which is gold. Actually, this came out in early 2016 versus the late 2016. So this was more gold. It was only available for the Core i7 version with Iris graphics, and so it was a little bit more expensive to get that. Really nice device, but now you can get the copper color or rose gold in any variant you want, basically. So it's an extra $50 and it'll let you do that, which is kind of a nice thing. I also like it. It's a little bit darker, a little bit less flashy, just basically a redder hue to it. Now let's go around to the side of the device. Compared to the old XPS 13, nothing has changed. You still have a USB 3.0 port here that can also charge. You have a USB Type-C full Thunderbolt 3, so you can use that for external monitors and even trickle charging a little bit. It's not quite as fast as using the barrel plug here, but you can use that to charge with some devices. You do still have a barrel plug charger, which is very small and compact, always a nice thing. Of course, you have your headphone jack. You do have a little battery gauge here, which is very common on Dells, really nice. Lets you check your battery status without actually turning on the device. Side speaker here, really cool design, not on the bottom, not on top, on the side. Basically right nice in the middle. It gives you a really good experience. It doesn't get muffled. I really like these speakers a lot. Coming around to the back, of course, nothing new there. Same thing over here on the side. You do have a Kensington lock, another USB 3.0, and a full SD card slot still there in case you need it. One of the few differences left in this Ultrabook range here from Dell is they still kept that SD card and, of course, the other speaker. Coming around to the front here, you do have, it's gonna be a little hard to see here, but a tiny LED which lights up when you're charging. Really nice effect, very subtle and cool looking. Coming to the bottom, of course, still very clean. Dell's been very good with this. In fact, what they do here with the XPS line, they have this little card that opens up, and that's where all your information goes. So all that really annoying text goes under there, very clean. Here is the grill for the fans, basically the intake, and then you have these rubber feet for mounting the device. So nothing changed here in terms of design. What has changed though is the processor. So now it is running the Intel Core i5, i3, and i7 Kaby Lake generation, 7th generation processor. You do get a slight performance boost. You can check out our Geekbench scores compared to last year's Skylake model. So that is nice there. The biggest thing besides slightly improved performance with Kaby Lake, however, is the improved thermals. So you're gonna run a little bit cooler, and of course, better battery life. And we do see that here with this Core i7 version that we are running. In addition, they swapped out the Wi-Fi card, which some people had issues with, and it is now running the killer AC wireless card 1535 to be specific. And in addition, they finally boosted the battery size from a 56 watt hour to 60 watt hour. What's really neat about the XPS 13 line, of course, is the options you have. You can start off at a Core i3 with 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage at $799. It goes all the way up though to about $1,800 or $1,850 or even $1,899 depending if you get the rose gold option. That's for the Core i7 16 gigs and 512 gigabytes of storage. Here we are running a Core i7 with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, and that comes in at a price tag of about $1,649. Still pretty expensive, but you do get that awesome QHD display. Let's talk about that. Not much has changed here. You are still running the Ixio panel display here. Very thin bezels, of course, QHD and full touch. You do have the option still for a full HD matte display, which I actually really prefer if you're going to be doing a lot of writing. Keyboard is still the same, nothing else has changed, but overall you get that nice carbon fiber design here, which is very soft to the touch and feels great. It does pick up oil though, so if you're one of those people who hates smudges and everything, you will have to wipe this down on occasion. The outside, of course, stays fine because it's metal, but on the inside here, it will get kind of greasy. Trackpad is also still very good. Precision touchpad, one of my favorites. One reason why I really like the Dells is that they stick to that, and so this is one of my favorite trackpads to use. If you do order one of these, I do advise you to check out the trackpad as the first thing. Some people have reported that the trackpad is loose, so if you tap it like this, See how there's no noise coming there, but if you tap that and you hear it clicking, you may have a loose trackpad. Just send it back to Dell. Don't even bother with it. It's an issue they are working on, but it's only in a few devices, but definitely check that out for quality control when you first get it. Overall, it's a very good device. I really like the Dell XPS 13. It's still one of my favorite 13-inch laptops. However, there are some things here. First of all, we don't have any Windows Hello system here, so there's no bio authentication, no fingerprint reader, nothing to do with the camera. You still get the weird web camera here at the bottom. Depending on how often you use that, that may or may not bother you. I actually do not use a web camera very often, but for people who do rely on it, this does give a very awkward angle, and so you want to make sure, think about that before you order this device. On the other hand, you get this really cool display. It's a very compact design. In terms of performance, it's very good. Kaby Lake is awesome. I'm really, really impressed with this. Now, Dell gets some like crazy battery estimates for this. I'll say using the QHD Core i7 version, I am pushing around 10 hours, which is actually really impressive. I used to get that with their older Full HD version, but now I'm seeing it with the QHD. So 10-hour mark for me is pretty amazing. I could only imagine it's gonna be higher, probably in the 13 or 14-hour range if you do get the Full HD matte non-touch option. So if battery life is your goal, go for that one. One thing I really do like about the XPS 13 is the fan noise. It's very low. In fact, it barely ever comes on. When it's running idle or just doing light work, you will not hear this fan. In terms of speakers too, I really do like these speakers. Now, I keep comparing to the HP version, which has 4 speakers. This only has 2, but I actually like the quality of speakers a little bit better, a little bit more bassy, more full sounding. You can feel the resonance in the body of the device a little bit more as well. But at $1649 for this device, I still think it's a little bit expensive. For $1299, you can get the HP Spectre X360 with double the storage and double the RAM, and you're going to save yourself like $300–400. So I think that's a little bit better. Plus the device is a tablet and can do Windows Hello. But every time I pick up this device, it's hard not to like it. It runs perfectly. I've had no issues. Dell's been very good with firmware updates and driver updates. In fact, before we did this video, there was a whole slew of new updates that came out for this device. And if you really want that QHD display, this is the device. Remember, the Spectre can't do that. It's only Full HD. So if you really want the best display in the business at 13-inch, this is going to be your device. So what to think of the Dell XPS 13 9360? Well, it's still one of my favorite 13-inch laptops. In fact, if you need a 13-inch with the best display, this is it. However, when it comes to pricing, I still find them a little bit higher than the competition. In fact, when you compare it to the HP Spectre X360, I think that's just a better value. Having said that, I love everything about this update. You still get the Kaby Lake processor, which is going to be better for thermals, better processing, and overall runs very well. You get a precision touchpad, a fantastic typing experience, that wonderful display, and it's all put into a really compact machine that's easy to carry around and gets great battery life. So far, so good, but that pricing is definitely quite high. It also doesn't turn into a 2-in-1. It's a straight up laptop, which honestly, for myself, is totally fine. Your needs may vary. You do, of course, get that SD card slot, which is kind of important for some of you, so take that in consideration. Overall, the XPS 13 is very good. It just needs to have some more improvements like Windows Hello added into the mix. Hopefully Dell will do that next year. If you want to see my full review, head to Windows Central. You can also get some HD photos and our full benchmarks for this device. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Take care, everybody.